sorry. What are your names? Jesse and Catherine.
Yeah.
How do I say it?
Catherine.
Catherine.
Yeah.
And the baby is? Zafira. Hey guys, we're here at the baby kangaroo bottle feeding at Ocoee Riverside Farm. We're here today with Jesse and Catherine and Zafira. And Jesse is feeding the baby kangaroo Rosie. Jesse, you need to hold that up a little higher from the floor so she stands up like the other one next to you. And Catherine is feeding the baby kangaroo Rosie. Sorry. He's got Josie, she's got Rosie. Josie and Rosie are both 13 months old. When they came here at 7 months, they were 3½ pounds. They are currently 22 pounds. These two will continue on the bottle for about another 3 months, give or take. They nutritionally do not still require these bottles at this point. This is a social thing. This is how you get uber-friendly kangaroos like what we have here, is to give them bottles for as long as they are willing to take them. These two are 13 months old. They currently weigh about 22 pounds. Their maximum adult size will be 80 to 110 pounds. So they still have a lot of growing yet to do, but they've grown a lot since they've been here. It is January 16th, 2025 that we were having this experience. Come on out sometime if you want to see us.
Thank you.
I'll take some stills here if I can get my glasses and see what I'm doing. Hers needs a little bit of a squeeze. When the other one gets done, it'll want to take the bottle away from the person. Look up. There you go. Zafira. Hi, baby. Oh, good girl.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You guys might be on the cover somewhere because with the baby there, it's about the cutest thing ever. So just go ahead and start looking.
You make everything cuter, you know that?
Oh, yeah.
She was reaching for the bottle like she's like getting jealous.
I don't think she'd like it.
Is it like, this might be a stupid question, but is it like a formula for specific for kangaroos?
If
or
they
like,
are less than 7 months old, you have to give them actually kangaroo milk.
okay.
And that is hideously expensive. Bottle feeding them all is very expensive, but because people pay us to bottle feed them, we can basically break even on it.
Yeah.
So that is why our kangaroos can get fed for a whole lot longer than anyone else's do. And that's why our kangaroos are a whole lot friendlier than other people's are. Because we will give them a bottle for as long as they want to keep taking it. But yeah, they're on a formula now.
Sorry, it's all laughing.
Could grab it.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna get air bubbles.
Yeah, I love the bottles, don't they?
Yes. Shit. Alright.
She took it in her own hands, didn't she?
Sorry, that's it. That's all I got.
You know, I'm such an idiot. I earlier was saying these are Damani and Laura. I don't know what I was thinking.
This is
about.
Rosie and
These
Josie.
are Rosie and Josie. Damani and Laura are outside. Yeah.
No, but
No, when I was outside during the tour, I'm like,
Yeah.
these are, normally if I'm on a tour, I'm not seeing these ones, and I was just in my tour mode, and I was talking about Damani and Laura. Those are the two bigger ones that are outside. These two are Rosie and Josie.
Rosie and Josie.
Confusing people. So I grew up seeing the Winnie the Pooh, so I thought the pouches go like this. They don't. They go like that. She will bite through your shoelace.
You allergic to kangaroos?
There was some rude name they used to call it. What was it?
I don't know. But you're on live, by the way.
I didn't call it. She works there now. They call it Bradley Medical Center.
That's where my daughter was born, there in Cleveland.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 8 years ago.
Labor and delivery. Justin's wife had her baby yesterday.
They said, do you want to wait for her to come and maybe be sharing our room, or do you want to induce? And we said, let's have our own room.
So what?
Said, let's have our own room. Because they were like, hey, kind of dilating. Do you want to go ahead and
Yeah.
have your own room, or do you want to share? We're like, let's have our own.
Donna delivers in like 15 minutes. So, with our fifth, she had been downtown renting apartments all day. I think I told you about that capture ratio thing that I had everything to rent. She went down and set up a table on the side of the sidewalk and rented all the apartments in one day. And at the end of the day, she'd been on her feet all day, and I looked at her, she threw her feet up on the dash, and I'm like, oh my gosh, those tree trunks. And I'm like, why don't we stop and get checked out? And so we went into the hospital, and they're like, hey, let's have a baby today. And I'm like, man, I haven't eaten anything all day. I'm gonna run across the street to Wendy's and grab myself a hamburger. I came back, I just about missed the whole thing.
Oh, no.
I mean, the time it took me to go across the street, get a bag to go, and come back, I almost missed it all.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, she,
Is your wife upset?
what's that?
Was your wife?
No,
No, she. Is her bed, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So, yeah,
she knows she married an idiot, so. But, yeah, right, exactly. So this is Coda. Coda is a coatimundi. This is basically a South American cousin of a raccoon. He is an arboreal creature, meaning he's meant to live in the trees. He can run the long claws he uses to really grab on. He can run up a tree or down a tree. Approximately the same rate of speed and just about as fast as he can run across the ground. His feet go completely backwards, so he can go down as fast as he can go up. Long wiggly nose, big sharp teeth, and big sharp claws. Tells he likes to dig. He likes to eat things that he can find in the ground or under the bark of a tree. But his basic policy is if I can get it in my mouth, it's food as far as he is concerned. So he likes to eat bugs, grubs, worms, any small lizard or small mammal that he can get his claws on. He's not likely to catch many birds, but he'd be heck on a bird nest. And his favorite thing to do is to run out into the petting farm, run up the trees and shake the branches, and the leaves fall down, and the goats run around and go, it's raining food, and they all have a wonderful time. And the leash is because of people here. He likes to go after shiny things. I'm trying to teach him to be like that dunks and checks in monkey and bring it to me later, but he's not good at the surreptitious just yet. But we're working on it. But so while a lot of the animals we're going to see in here, people would refer to as exotic animals. But exotic doesn't mean endangered. It doesn't even mean rare. It just means not from here. So here, this is an exotic animal that people pay thousands of dollars for. In Central and South America, these are as common as raccoons, just varmints and pests. They're just not varmints and pests that are from here. So we think they're cool. And he used to run up and down the walls in this place, but now we have all these wires running around for all of our cameras everywhere. We try to keep him down off the walls. But other thing about coatimundis, his mouth looks pretty small, so you would imagine the size of the choppers he's got in there. But I took a picture of one when I had him sedated because we were working on their claws. And their nails their teeth are far bigger than what you would think would fit inside of their mouth. They have a gap in their, I'm getting from my reading glasses here. They have a gap in their top jaw that their canine teeth actually come up and go all the way through their top jaw, like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that the teeth on this dude would be an inch and a quarter long based on how small his mouth is, right?
Right.
But yeah, he could bite all the way through your hand. But he's a cool little guy. He was bottle raised in the house till he was about 5 months old. But at the point that he discovered there is no child lock that can keep him out of the cabinets, and he likes to run all the way up to the top of the ceiling and see what makes the loudest crash when he drops it. That got pretty old pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then the two that are on the other other side from him are a breeding pair. That one in the heat box right there is daddy. Mama she must be up in the tunnel in the back. And when we have baby coatimundis out here, they're just the cutest thing you'll ever see. And last baby we had rode around on my shoulder for about 2 or 3 months. Before I went on to the next thing. The animals that we do raise here, we're basically raising to be ambassador animals for other people. Because I don't need any more coatimundis. Kangaroos are coming out to see us. Get down. Good boy, Cody. These are our girl baby kangaroos. I'm not sure if we're going to feed our girl baby kangaroos or our boy baby kangaroos today. We may try the boys. They're brand new here. They've only been here since Sunday.
Oh, really?
But they're a whole lot smaller than these girls are. These two are Damani and Alora. And the reason they are so named is my daughter, who is in Italy right now because her husband is in the Air Force, picked their names. And it's funny, I say that she cursed us with the self-fulfilling prophecy that those are 2 conversational words in Italian. So, allora is like, yeah, right, I'm with you, whatever. I mean, just a conversational word for keep on talking.
Mm-hmm.
And Damani literally translates tomorrow, but conversationally is more like maybe later, when I'm darn good and ready, something like that. And that did turn out to be the personality of those 2 kangaroos who were named sight unseen.
On their time?
Yeah. So, what do you do in labor and delivery?
Nurse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put 2 of my daughter. That one is a nurse. She is pediatric oncology.
Okay.
And then my other daughter is a trauma nurse.
Okay.
Actually, she just started med school, but she still works 1 shift every week or 2 to keep her claws current
You're
as
right,
a
yeah.
trauma nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're the only kind that close up into a perfect paw like that. And so that's his head and that's his tail. And he closes all the way up like that, so you can't get him. And so that's his head, that's his tail. And he closes all the way up like that. This is skin. It's not a shell. He's not a reptile. And then when you turn him over, he comes on out and just runs around. I think his ears are cool the way they come out like that and then go back in when he closes up. And he is a baby. They tell me that his full adult size could be as much. So she's nursing. What do you do? Feel that one. So she is only on display in the wintertime out here. Because, no, that's about the normal size of a chinchilla. But chinchillas are the world's softest animals. Unfortunately, hey Tatum, we're getting ready to put those back. This one has a similar defensive strategy as the armadillo does. But the armadillo balls up and says, I don't think you can get me. This one balls up and says, go ahead and try. Because when he wakes up and he's comfortable like that, you can just pet him from the front to the back. Because he's covered in quills that are about as sharp as a needle. But similar to a needle, it's only sharp on the pointy end. The rest of the needle, not so much. So when they ball up, see if he will ball up. He wants to see the people. He's like, oh no, don't ball me up. But when they ball up, their needles all stick out tangent to the way their body is. So they get the whole like a sea urchin. And if an animal bit a chemo brain, I lose my words sometimes. Yeah, if an animal bit a hedgehog, these really complex words are the ones that get to me. Anthropomorphism is fine, but a hedgehog, you know, it's like, who knows? But, yeah, if an animal bites a hedgehog, they're going to get a mouthful of quills and they'll wish they hadn't. And these are sharp enough when they ball up that if you don't have farmer hands, you probably don't want to grab one. But when they're smoothed out like that, you're welcome to pick it up. If you want to pick up a hedgehog, you stick your fingers under it like that and pick it up on the bottom. You know, they're firm and soft on the top. They're pretty doggone sharp. So you're welcome to pick that up if you want to. You just put your fingers under it like a spatula from both sides. And you probably shouldn't pick it up, but you're welcome to. People often ask me if a hedgehog can shoot its quills like a porcupine. And I say, yes, exactly like a porcupine, because they can't either. The thing about a porcupine throwing its quills is completely a myth.
Yeah.
I think the reason that people can believe that they do is because if you brush up against one and their quill goes into your skin, it's got a hook on the end and, you know, it doesn't want to come back out. So if you were an ER nurse in the South, you probably would at least once have seen somebody with several porcupine quills stuck in them that don't want to come back out because of the quill the hook on the end of the quill. But they can't throw their quills, and hedgehogs can't either. That's only when you're seeing the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon that they can throw their quills, but they actually quality, and then the color comes from seeing the red blood cells behind their eyes, and the color of their skin is just seeing their blood through their skin. And I don't know how much you guys saw the turkey up there. Did you see the turkey?
Yeah, we both of them.
So when he's all swelled up like that, he's all bright red.
Yeah.
And then when he calms down and he's not showing off anymore, the blood all goes back into his, veins and arteries, into his circulatory system, and his neck turns just all pinkish gray. And if you see him out there when there's no people to show off for, he doesn't have any color, or he doesn't have a bright red color. That's Daddy. This is Big Brother. Big Brother, and this is babies. This is one of the babies. This is another baby. Oh, they jump sometimes, but they'll jump to another person. They'll just jump on the floor. This one, I think is a very pretty guy.
Yeah.
So sugar gliders are not squirrels, they're not mice, they're not rats, they are marsupials. So these are mammals with pouches. When they are born, they are the size of a single grain of rice. They go into their mother's pouch and they latch onto a teat and they stay in there and drink milk. The mother's teat will grow into their mouth so that they cannot let go. If they happen to get knocked off of the teat, they will not be able to reattach. And they would starve if they were still very small. And they'll stay in there, and 2 is a normal number for a mother to have at once. Although when she had this one, he was a single. And yeah, he's quite a bit big. He's about 4 months older than these 2. And they reproduce all the time. They don't fall off of things. They do jump and glide. So they tell me, based on their glide ratio, that if a sugar glider jumped from the top of a goalpost, they could make the 50-yard line and glide. So they can really glide a ways. And they're really soft. If you pet them, when you hold them, you just kind of feel their feet. They're just pet like that. They're really soft. Pretty friendly little guy.
I had that one freaking out.
What one?
Just making that noise.
Oh, he just wears my mama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're angsty boy. Looks mean and scary, but he doesn't grab you with his claws when you pick him up. He loves to be petted. Close his eyes and put his head back and go, it's just right there. So you pet him here, he feels all rough and bumpy. If you pet him here, it feels like sandpaper. If you pet him here, it feels like a purse or a wallet or something. You're welcome to pet this guy, he loves to be petted. So his size, shape, and color are good camouflage for hiding in the trees. This is a tree-living animal. These are the same exact one. When he sheds the needles as well. So see, it's hollow inside, and he's got the needle already underneath it. It doesn't, there's already the new, this is the one I just pulled off, and it's already got the new one underneath it.
How often does he shed?
2 or 3 times a year.
Do you like help heal the skin?
Not usually, it just sloughs off. So his legs are this brown color, and his back is green, so he blends in with a tree. His legs will blend in with the branches, and his back with the leaves. And then this is his camouflage beyond his natural camouflage. This is more his disguise. So when he turns his head and closes his eyes like this, he's showing this like it's an eyeball. Because if he was actually a lizard with an eye that big, he would be an alligator. So he's trying to say, I'm an alligator. Don't come and try to mess with me. So most animals that would normally think of him as a food source would not think the same way about an alligator. And this guy is a senior citizen. He is in his upper teens. Don't know exactly how old he is, but he is in his upper teens. So we already have a new one for when this guy finally does expire. And that is what the needles look like.
I left the barn door open. I told Kevin, I have a feeling he's gonna escape. And he did.
So I once left a tortoise out in the side yard. I just didn't think about it, and I hadn't thought about how fast the tortoise can actually move. And he went down the driveway, up the...
So that's the smaller one that he's getting on. He weighs about 1,250 pounds. And that's about normal size. I got it.
Was he trying to get up there?
Oh yeah. John has raced horses and been with horses and tons of animals his whole life. So definitely not like, oh, let's just see if this works. I was out there earlier just petting and hanging out with them, and they just were like, we like the sun, we're chilling. And they would be fine to be out there all night long. Like, they're good down into the negatives. So a lot of people think that they're just hot desert animals, but all...
These are our camels. This is Ed and a Boo. This one is a Boo.
Hi, Boo.
These are both male dromedary camels. They're both 15 years old. They were born on the same farm a few days apart. They are utterly codependent. They have never ever been apart. This guy happens to be the kissing camel. It's a good picture. If you want to give him a kiss, you say, hey, boo boo. And he'll give you a kiss like that.
Hold on, I gotta get a picture of this.
Here you go, right here. There you go.
Oh, I'll do it again. You like that?
Go ahead, you can too. Boy, boo boo. So the most interesting thing about a camel is their ability to store and use water in the form of fat. So on the hottest day in the desert, a camel can go 10 days to 2 weeks with not a single drop of water. In that period of time, he can lose 30% of his body weight. So that camel weighs 1,750 pounds. I'm 175-ish. Simple math, trust me. So, what?
1,000%.
Yeah, but he weighs 1,750. So he can lose 500 pounds to dehydration. So for me to lose a similar percent of my body weight, that would be me losing 50 pounds to dehydration. So if I lost 50 pounds because I had no water for 10 days, there's a special word for what I would be, and that word is dead. That's the one. And if a camel lost 500 pounds because he had no water for 2 weeks, what he would be is
Thirsty.
thirsty. That's the one. So those barrels over there are 55-gallon drums. If a camel had actually lost 30 pounds, could drink 50 gallons of water in under 3 minutes. How that works is as he dehydrates, his red blood cells will go from oval down to basically flat. And his fat cells, we are all normal sized people, so if this is normal size for a fat cell, and we wanted to star in the show My 600-Pound Life, our fat cells take months for years. Camels walk around the opposite. They walk around with their fat cells the huge distended size, and as they dehydrate, they shrink all the way down to the most basic size. So the camel can shrink, he can lose literally 30% and still be fine. But then when he gets to the far side of the desert or gets to another source of water and he's going to drink, one this size could drink 30 gallons, one that size could drink 50, and seriously in under 3 minutes. So how that works is the red blood cells go from flat, just boom, right back to oval immediately. So the red blood cells can absorb the water as fast as they can drink it. You can grab one of those other carrots because that didn't show up for his carrot. So the red blood cells can absorb the water as fast as he can drink it. And then his fat cells go from this to right back to that. As fast as he can drink it. So for a human to go from this to that is months or years. For a camel, that's about 40 seconds. So the camel can go from near death to completely normal in about 3.5 minutes, because that's how long it'll take him to drink all that water.
Does he chew it or does he swallow it whole?
He chews it. He's got no top teeth in the front, but they've got a top and bottom set in the back. And a camel can eat essentially anything, even trees. Not the trunk of the tree, obviously, but all the branches and leaves and everything else. Other interesting things about him, they've got 3 eyelids. His first eyelid closes to make his eye watertight. The second eyelid closes against the sand, but he can see through it. His third eyelid closes to close his eyes. They're all 3 voluntary muscles. He can choose to close 1 or 2 or 3. That's a big old carrot down the hatch, isn't it? Yeah. He saw me coming and didn't want to give me a ride. He's standing there going, I'm good. Yeah, it's been crazy cold out here. Very few people know that camels are just as good in the cold as they are in the heat. You actually can leave a camel outside down to about 40 below zero before it's dangerous to them. Of course, in the desert, it gets below freezing as soon as the sun goes down because there's no grass or leaves or plants or anything to hold
Super
heat.
hot, do they still shed any of their fur, or do they?
Yeah, they have a summer coat and a winter coat. So this is his winter coat, thick and dark, and absorbs the heat due to the color, holds it in due to the thickness. And their summer coat is thin and buff. And he really didn't grow out a whole lot of a winter coat this year, but normally all over it's the way that their legs are, just thin and buff colored. So it reflects the heat of the sun and doesn't hold it in.
Same size though.
I was ready to go bottle feed a baby kangaroo.
Yeah.
You having a little nap, Zoe. Guys, if you've ever wanted to hold a sloth, you can do that here at Ocoee Riverside Farm. Look her cute. She's how she holds on. So this is Zoe, and this is her.
Come here, baby.
They are.
Hey, little cricket. Yeah. Gotta be crickets.
No.
It's just herbivores.
Yeah. They eat grass. Grass, twigs, leaves. These ones just came here, and they have been outside up until 2 weeks ago. So they're all shaggy.
Are they boys or girls?
Boys.
Both boys?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the other one.
Yep. These will not breed with the two that are outside. They are genetically related. The big male that's out in the field outside is not related to any of these. Probably need to stand where I am to get a better picture.
Oh, they're so soft. Do they start using their tails, like, to, prop them up and stuff right away?
So when they walk, they go front feet, tail, front, back, tail. When they jump only on the back feet, and they use the tail for a counterbalance.
And that just starts like from birth, though?
Yeah. Well, not birth, that's an unusual term with a kangaroo. So gestation for a kangaroo, and we'll talk more about that since you're labor and delivery than we normally do.
Yeah.
So kangaroos have 2 uteruses. They're basically pregnant in both uteruses all the time after their first pregnancy. Their required gestation is 33 days, fertilization to birth. But when they birth a baby, they are birthing something the size of a jelly bean. And the baby has to crawl on its own up into its mother's pouch, latch onto a teat. It will remain latched on and nursed continuously for at least 90 days without letting go even once. And during that period of time, the baby is so small and weak that it can't even nurse itself. The mother's actively pumping milk into their mouth. Actually, not milk, but colostrum, because she's essentially nursing embryos for that whole first 3 months. So she's making something similar to colostrum the first 3 months. At about 3 months, they'll start to nurse and release, nurse and release. That signals the mother to shift over to making milk instead of colostrum. They'll continue in the pouch until the first time they'll stick their face out is about 6 months old. First time they'll jump out of the pouch is at about 7 months old. These two are currently 8 months old. You need a hand there, buddy? There you go. They go in head first. And, yeah, it's a little high for them right now. You got to set them high enough that they don't bonk their head on the floor. And we have other bags that reach a little lower, but I didn't adjust these. So after they jump out of the pouch at 7 months, if you're ever going to have friendly kangaroos, that's when you got to take them and start to bottle feed them. Because occasionally the mother will wean them as soon as they leave the pouch, and if she does, you're never going to get them onto a bottle, and they may not survive not having milk in 7 months. After 10, they don't need the milk nutritionally, it's just a social thing. The longer you can get them to keep taking a bottle, the friendlier kangaroo you'll have. Well, that sounds pretty normal. From there, it gets weird. So, a female kangaroo continuously produces a chemical that is similar to pitocin, what we give to induce labor in a human female. So, it takes about 2 days to build up enough pitocin in their system to induce labor, essentially. And so they are always ready to deliver. When the baby crawls up into the pouch and starts to nurse, the act of producing the milk for them to nurse creates a second chemical that's basically a blocker for the pitocin. So they normally will not birth a second baby if they already have one that's latched on nursing. If the baby doesn't make it to the pouch within 2 days, that's about how long it takes to build up enough pitocin to induce labor again. Bam, fire 2. It'll have the other baby from the second uterus. So every time they have a baby, they get 2 shots at one becoming viable, basically. The baby that's latched on nursing that puts the blocker on the pitocin, but it's only 33 days, fertilization to birth, and they're birthing something like a jelly bean, so it's not a traumatic birth, so they breed back generally the same day. So at 33 days of gestation, they likely are not ready to deliver another baby. So what happens is embryonic diapause, freeze frame, just freeze frame in utero. and it does not progress, it does not regress, it remains exactly the same. From 33 days on, that can last for days, weeks, months, or even years. That the baby is just essentially on suspended animation in the uterus. The exception to having only one is if resources are so plentiful that the kangaroo literally gets fat, too high a fat content, that will amp up the production of pitocin to bypass the blocker, cause it to have a second one. When they have two, both nursing, that doubles the blocker, so it cannot possibly birth a third if it already is nursing two. So they are essentially designed to birth as many babies as they can nourish and no more. So if a kangaroo is malnourished or dehydrated, it stops making pitocin, can't deliver a baby. If a kangaroo is malnourished or dehydrated itself and it has a baby, it will most likely throw the baby away, so it will live. So if a female kangaroo had a mantra, that mantra would be live to have more at all costs. So if a kangaroo is malnourished or dehydrated, throw the baby away, live to have more. So the big fix for kangaroo populations, for droughts, because a drought in a desert place can last for, years. Look at that, they're both going to go in the same one. Snuggle buddies. And it's funny, when they go into the pouch, they have no back legs and almost no tail.
Yeah.
When they come out of the pouch, it's like they're nothing but legs and tail. Kind of funny. So at the start of a drought, most all the kangaroos will throw their babies away, so the population is just basically zeroed out. But then at the end of the drought, whichever one survived, they've got one in each uterus ready to deliver immediately. So as soon as they become rehydrated, renourished, all the kangaroos in the whole group will birth the baby right away. And usually at the end of a drought in a desert place, it's a time of extreme plenty. So in very short order, they'll all get...
Camel's pretty nice too.
So the whole thing is going to be on Facebook, and I'll probably leave it up for a little bit because we kind of had some cut-in, cut-outs. But whenever you get service, try to download it because it'll be a video of the whole thing, because I think there's probably some snafus somewhere in there. But as soon as you see it, I'll grab it.